Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to talk about how every motorcycle is an adventure bike. And you don't have to have a motorcycle that's classified as an adventure bike to have a great adventure. So in this video I'm going to talk about how you can go anywhere on any bike, and to do that I'm going to prove it on this G310R. It's a small bike, only 313 cc's, but I was able to take an adventure on this just like you can take one on whatever bike you have. So in this video we'll talk about luggage considerations, we'll talk about setting appropriate expectations for your ride if you're getting started in this, on whatever bike that is, and then just get out and do it. So stick around and we'll talk about how every bike is an adventure bike. Before we get into the video, I just have one thing that I want to say. In the adventure community, there's this idea that things have to go wrong or things have to go poorly for you to have an adventure. I reject that notion. I don't think that has to happen. You can have a great adventure without that. I don't need to be stuck on the side of a mountain needing help to get my bike turned around to have a great adventure. I also don't need to be stuck on the side of the road struggling to get my bike picked up to have a great adventure. Seeing a bear cross the road in front of me, or riding through a herd of elk, or finding a great place to go fishing and actually catching fish is a great adventure for me, and seeing different places is also a great adventure. So whenever I hear the saying that until things go wrong you're not having an adventure, I just absolutely reject that. So keep in mind, when I talk about having a great adventure, I'm talking about traveling, seeing places that you haven't been to, camping in new places, fishing, seeing wildlife. It's not about having problems come up. If you're wanting to travel on your motorcycle and don't have luggage, you don't need to go out and buy big expensive off-road or adventure luggage or even hard cases. Just use what you have. A couple of dry bags strapped to the back of your motorcycle is all you need. The first trip I took on my new 1200 GS, I didn't have any luggage. I had a couple dry bags, I just threw on what I could and went camping for the weekend. That's all I had to do. For this trip, I just happened to have a Giant Loop Great Basin bag that I bought on eBay for a third of the price of what it would cost normally, and I hadn't used it until this trip. I threw it on here, it's worked great. So if you're wanting to do a trip, don't let luggage be what slows you down. There's other strapping options available to you. No matter what you ride, you can find a way to put it on there. Put some of it in a backpack, whatever it takes. Just don't let that keep you from doing the travel you want to do. There are ways to get it done. Just strapping dry bags on is an easy way. Alright, if you are wanting to go motorcycle camping and you've never done it before, but you have experienced car or truck camping, keep in mind you really need to lean towards the backpacking side of things. It's not going to be as comfortable as what you're used to car and truck camping, and you can't pack all the same stuff. But if you're new to getting into this, there's some other options you could consider. It's the traveling that makes this fun and makes this the adventure. You don't have to sleep in a tent. There's plenty of cabins options available all through the mountains. You just have to look for them. I do that on and off, especially if I'm on a longer trip and I need a shower and a place to clean my clothes. KOA cabins have came in really handy. And then if the weather's really bad, that's a place you could stay as well. So it doesn't all have to be camping. It doesn't all have to be everything on the back of the bike. Just take what you need and get out and do it, no matter what you're riding. Once you start traveling and getting out on the roads and seeing what's out there, it will change your perspective. It will make you want to do more and more travel, no matter what it is. Alright, no matter what bike you have, you can travel on it. I'm riding the BMW G310R. Partly because of circumstances. My 1200 GS is in the shop for a warranty issue. Front shock was leaking. Anyway, I had to ask nicely and promise not to hurt this bike, but I borrowed a G310R. It's not really meant for travel, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. I threw some luggage on because I wanted to camp, but I could have stayed in cabins with much less stuff taken with me. I could have stayed in hotels and eaten out. It's the traveling that's the most important. If you can afford to stay in hotels, do that, or cabins, do that. Just get out and ride your bike. And no matter what you have, it can be done. Yeah, I couldn't go up passes maybe as fast as I could have on my bigger bike, but I had that expectation of that things were going to be a little bit slower. Which leads me into the next thing. if you're new to motorcycle travel, set your expectations properly from the beginning. You're not going to be able to do 300 or 400 or 500 miles when you first get started. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be used to it. There's a lot of adjustments that go with long distance travel. Your gear might not be what you really want for long distance travel. And those are the things you got to figure out. So maybe look at 200 to 250 miles to figure out, do you have enough wind protection? Are you comfortable for that period of time? Depending on what bike you have, if you're going to get blasted in the chest all day, you're going to be much more fatigued. And then if you're in inclement weather, if it's raining, how much cover do you have? So if you start setting really long trips, you may find that you're not really set up for that. So start slow, start small, and then work your way up and adjust your gear and adjust your bike to be able to do those longer trips. You might find out that the seat you're sitting on after a couple hours is killing your ass, but you're not going to know that until you do it for a few hours. But if you plan to ride all day long and after a couple hours you're hurting, well, you're going to have to change your plan. Make sure you're realistic about what you can do, how far you can go, how many days you want to be out, how much food you need to take with you, or how often you need to stop for gas. So keep all those things in mind. If you don't have the gear, borrow it, ask somebody. Look online, see if you can find some deals on gear. But find someone that you work with or that you know that does backpacking and see if they have some extra gear that maybe they've replaced with newer gear that you could borrow just for the weekend. Whatever it is, don't let those things be what holds you up. So don't make excuses on why you can't go anywhere on your motorcycle. Just throw the stuff on there and go, and then that will be the adventure, figuring out, do you like riding long distance? Do you like camping? Did the place that you pick, was it good? You know, all of that is part of the adventure. You can travel on any bike that you have or want to get. It doesn't have to be a big adventure bike, a big travel bike. It doesn't have to be able to do 100 miles an hour. This clearly does not do 100 miles an hour. I think the fastest down a hill I could go with all of my luggage loaded was 74 miles an hour. That was it. Up hills, pinned. But you know what? I'm still having a great time. I've done 20, 30 miles of dirt roads, no problem. It's got street tires on it. It doesn't have a lot of suspension. It's just forest roads. It allowed me to get to places I could camp. So the point is, no matter what you're riding, you can do that too. If you want to get up into the mountains, take whatever you have, get out and do it. Throw some dry bags on the back with a sleeping bag and a tent, a little bit of food, and that's really all you need. Alright, thanks for watching. I felt really compelled to do this video because I feel like in the adventure community there's this thought that you have to be on a big adventure bike, and yes, I have a big adventure bike, but I'm actually thinking about whether or not I need to keep that and downsize. I don't know if that I would go with the G310R, but there are smaller bikes that I could do everything that I've done on my big adventure bike. So the point being is that you don't have to have that. Whatever bike you have, no matter what it is, you can take that on an adventure. If you look at some of the bikes that people have taken, they've taken the Honda C90 Cubs around the world, and I've seen sport bikes taken around the world. Every bike is capable of having great adventures. So hopefully this inspires you to get out and do some camping and do some riding and just go explore on your motorcycle. There is no better way to travel, and once you start doing that and you start doing longer and longer trips, all you're going to want to do is find more and more places to go and try to ride as much as you can. So thanks for watching. I hope this inspires you to get out and ride, do some camping, go see someplace new that you've been talking about or thinking about for a really long time, and I will see you out there.